If you want to get started in miniature painting easily, quickly, and with great results, this Xpress Color set is perfect for you. It includes everything you need to start painting. A selection of Xpress Color paints, ideal for achieving highlights, shadows, and contrast in a single application. An exclusive miniature that requires no assembly and comes pre-primed. A high-quality synthetic brush, perfect for taking your first steps. And a booklet with a step-by-step tutorial that guides you through the entire process, using all the colors included in the set. An all-in-one solution to discover how Xpress Color works and enjoy painting from the very beginning. The colors I'm going to use for the first version are, for the skin, Mystic Blue and Templar White. Willow Bark for the cloak. For the bandages, a mix of Willow Bark and Imperial Yellow. For the staff and shield, I'll use Copper Brown. Snake Green for the scales on the loincloth. For the metallic parts, Iceberg Gray, the gems with Velvet Red, and finally, Hospitalier Black to deepen the shadows in some areas. I apply Templar White over the entire skin surface. It is advisable to use a large brush, as it can hold more paint. It's important to apply a good amount of paint and then spread it out. The paint distributes itself naturally into the recesses. A single coat is enough to achieve good contrast, and the drying time for each layer is approximately 1 minute. Using Mystic Blue, I paint the skin's scales. Where the scales meet the skin, I blend both colors to achieve a smooth gradient. With Willow Bark, I paint the cloak. I apply the Xpress directly, and the paint flows into the crevices on its own. Once dry, you can see it has a completely matte finish. I mix Willow Bark with Imperial Yellow to paint the bandages. For the wood on the staff and shield, I use Copper Brown. For the pants, I use the same Xpress Color, but I add water to reduce the intensity. With Snake Green, I paint the scales on the skirt. For the metallic parts, I use Iceberg Gray, which is a bluish gray tone that gives the impression of cold metal. I add a bit of water to Velvet Red and paint the gems, being careful not to stain other parts. I add a drop of copper brown to velvet red and paint the belt. I also paint the eyes with velvet red. The figure is almost ready. Now I paint the horn and nails with a mix of willow bark and imperial yellow. With snake green, I paint the metallic parts of the cloak. To add a final touch to the miniature, I apply a bit of velvet red to the nostrils. Lastly, I paint the base with a mix of willow bark and orc skin. And with that, this saurian is painted using only Xpress Color. Lastly, if you want to increase the contrast, you can use Hospitalier Black to enhance certain areas, such as the boots, the edges of the cloak, or the metallic parts painted with iceberg gray. This depends on personal preference. Saurian completed, following a few very simple steps. I'm going to paint a second version using a different color palette, and the colors I'm going to use are: for the skin, I'll use orc skin, Martian orange, velvet red, imperial yellow, and snake green. The cloak will be painted with copper brown. I'll use willow bark for the shield and the staff. The scale patterned loincloth will be done in vampiric purple. For the metallic areas, I'll use iceberg gray. The belt will be painted with velvet red. The belt plates will have imperial yellow and willow bark. For the gems, I'll use mystic blue and imperial yellow. I use orc skin to paint the saurian's skin. I apply a good amount of paint and spread it carefully. I use a large brush to load more paint. Once dry, I use Martian orange to paint the face. I work carefully to avoid staining other parts. I apply imperial yellow to the scales to give them a vibrant tone. You can also mix it with a bit of Madian orange for a more vivid effect. With velvet red, I paint the saurian's snout to create contrast. I also take the opportunity to paint the shoulder scales and the scales on the back. The skin is already showing different tones and nuances. Finally, with snake green, I paint the hands. And with that, the skin is done. With copper brown, I paint the fur of the cloak. I spread the paint well so it collects in the raised areas, naturally generating contrast. Once dry, it has a completely matte finish. I paint the pants with 𝗂𝗵𝗵𝘃 black, taking care not to stain the other parts. With willow bark, I paint the shield, the staff, and the bandages. For the scale skirt, I use 𝗵𝗵𝘃𝗵𝘃, applying a generous coat and spreading it well. To simulate a metallic effect, I use iceberg gray to paint the mace, the edge of the shield, and the knees. I apply velvet red to the belt, carefully avoiding previously painted areas. For this part, it's important to use only the tip of the brush. With imperial yellow, I paint the central plate of the belt. To achieve more definition on that plate, I apply slightly diluted willow bark. For the gems on the mace and the saurion's head, I use Xpress colors in more saturated tones so they contrast better with the rest of the figure. To finish, I make a mix of iceberg gray with 𝗂𝗵𝗵𝘃 black. And with that, the saurion is finished. I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments.